So check out that sunrise. On our way to the hills to do a gravel ride. Planning on going to Bellevue, then down the pipeline to Mundaring, then maybe the firewood track up to the Heritage Trail and then back. That should be, I think, about 120 to 125 k's, and just on the gravel bike. All right, let's go. On Hepburn Ave, just heading directly east to the hills. Got a bit of a headwind. It's going to be an east-northeasterly today, so we'll hopefully get a tailwind on the way back. Should be a cloudy day, but relatively warm. So good riding weather. This is the women's prison. This is where they put all the women that do something wrong. There you go. That's where you end up. Alright, hills are just up there. Getting a bit closer. We just go around the edge of Midland and then to Bellevue. This is Roe Highway. So just crossing Roe Highway. Hills are up there. I think that's called Midvale in there. That's a Great Eastern Highway just down there, so that's where I'm at, right on the eastern edge of Perth. This is down the back streets of Bellevue. Some business there, but here's where we cross the railway line, main east-west railway line. And we have to just go around the maze. But yeah, that's it. That's where the Indian Pacific and anything going east-west, it goes past here. Don't want to get caught right now. And this is the start or the end of the Heritage Trail just down here, and this is where I'll stop and let my tyres down and start the gravel section. So we go in here, no one behind, and this is the start. Looks like there's been a bit of water, so there might be a few puddles. Might let a bit more out later. I'll just see how it goes on the rough stuff. All right, we're on our way. And this is where we head off the Heritage Trail onto the pipeline. There's a couple of quarries on the left there. One we passed a bit earlier, which the rock climbers use. And there's one in here, which is just an abandoned quarry. There's some of the old infrastructure still around, the cement. There's a big valley down there, and then we head around on a road for a little bit, and then we hit the pipeline, and that's when the hills start. There's a little bit of a quarry, some infrastructure down here. There's a bit of steel in the ground there. You can see the cement here. coming up on the left. So we go down here until we hit some new bitumen, and then we just head down a hill. So we're at Helena Valley. This is the lower Helena pumping stations in front. This is the road to it, and we'll basically bump into the pipeline, or a pipeline, and follow that, give or take, to Mundaring, and follow along the edge of the Helena River, which I think must be down there to the right. So quite a few hills through here. Some really steep ones. All right, let's get the legs ready. So this is a fork in the track. I've come from down that hill. There's the pipeline, and if you follow that pipeline, it's a much rougher track, and I think there's more hills. This one here is a nicer track to ride, I think, and it's on the south side of the Helena Valley River, and that goes to the north side. So I've accidentally, from the other direction, taken that track. If you miss the turn off, gets you back to here, but it's just a bit harder. This one's the one we'll take. There's the valley, and you can see the other pipeline on the other side. I said earlier, if you take the fork, that's what you're riding up against on that side, and we've got our pipeline on this side. So yeah, bit of a dull, cloudy day, but still good for riding. No wind, no sun, bit of moisture, we've had some rain, so a bit of grip. With these new 45mm tyres let down a bit, you can stand up and pedal without braking traction. Alright, we'll keep on going. Down there a little further, we hit the other end of the Y junction, and it comes back together on one road. We've sort of gone off the main track onto this sort of track here. There's a crisscross of pipes. There's one over there. I think there's one over here somewhere. And you can see this is like a bit of a place for four drivers come. You can see they try to rip up that hill. And we go down through there. There's some gnarly hills at the end of here. So there to come. And then after that, most of the gnarly hills are done, and it's just rolling hills. So bit of water. It's the river down there. We just crossed it. There was a cement crossing, a ford back there. All right, let's get going. So I come from down there. This is the other end of the fork. So one goes up there and one goes down there, either side of the river basically, north and south side. And you can see these two pipes come in and they join together and become twin pipes down this track, and this track takes us all the way through to Mundaring, and we'll hop on the one of the walking tracks. Is it the Bitumen one? No, the other one. And we'll do the last little bit through on that trail and then pop out at Mundaring. The Munda-Biddy, the other one I was trying to think of quickly. So the Munda-Biddy, we'll hop on the Munda-Biddy and do that last little bit. So that's actually quite a nice little bit. But look how still it is. Why wouldn't you want to be out here? Yesterday was sunny. It was supposed to be raining all weekend. Yesterday was perfectly good riding weather and sun. Today is perfectly good riding weather and dead still. Right. Just hear the birds. So, a bit puffed coming up that about 20%, 15% rise, but there's the red phone box and the Mundaring Weir Hotel. So, and there's a church over there, so we're going to head that way. So, yeah, keep on going. I don't know how far I've gone. Hang on, let me have a look. 54 k's, so not quite halfway. All right, let's go. So this track here is the Kep track. It goes from here all the way out to Northam. I've ridden this once or twice. Once from here and a few times from Mundaring. But you go back in the bike riding videos on the channel and you'll see the Kep track. So we'll hit Firewood Road and we're going to head out Firewood Road. Adds a little bit of a extra k's on the loop. Alright, I've come through from that track. This is Firewood Road and I'm going to head out here behind that ute and can't remember the road, but I hit a road and head north. It's not Firewood Road. Yeah, I can't think of the name. I'll think of it when I get there. There's another bike just heading down the hill. Alright, let's get going. That goes up to Mundaring too, by the way. If you keep on going, it ends up at Mundaring, that track there. Up there we go. So just came down Firewood Road. I think this is called Poison Trail Road or something like that. And just heading north now to come into Sawyers Valley. So yeah, that's, and then back to Civilization. Then we'll just follow the Heritage Trail around, and then yeah, just the Bitumen back home. About 40 k's of it to get home. All right, should be about 125 k's by the end, I think. The forest is looking good in here. This is the power line track, and as you can see, all the boys have got the toys and they're all up there. I'll see if I can get a bit of a zoom on and show you. They're trying to climb that hill. She's all pretty rutted out. Well, she's pretty lumpy. I didn't get too much footage of them at the end of the day when we got up here, but guy did his sidestep on that rock there. But yeah, that goes all the way up there, and then this lumpy patch, and it keeps on going, and they try and get from end to end. Alright, we're going to head down there, turn right, and go into Sawyers Valley. Alright, back to Civilization on some bitumen for a little bit. So we'll be just going down this hill, coasting down into Sawyers Valley. Then we'll pick up the Heritage Trail and head around that. I like the Garmin 1050, not perfect by any stretch, especially the mapping. I just don't like this sort of web-based, you know, syncing type thing. I just like to be able to have a route, put it in there, be able to do it offline. But because that's like your fallback position when you're in a shit. You just need to be able to get a map or get to a map. But it's for a bike computer that does all of the bike stuff, it's not too bad. Alright, I have to find where the Heritage Trail is here. I reckon this little road here will intersect the Heritage Trail up here somewhere. Has to, surely. This will be it here. So we turn right to go around. Alright, we're on the trail. Stump's still there. So this was the site of the Mount Helena train station, and there's the Mount Helena pub, and this here track is where the rail went. You can see there's actually a cement block from back in the day there, and we're going to follow the rail, this rail reserve, all the way back to Swan View, and that is basically downhill at about 3%, so it's fast, and I think we've got a tailwind, so it'll be extra fast. Well, there's not much of a wind. You can see the trees are hardly moving, but I think it's supposed to be an easterly. So that'll be a quick trip back to the car park, and then we're back on the bitumen for, I'll put a little bit of air in the tyres because I've got them pretty low for the rocks, and then we'll be on our way back to Woodvale where I live. All right, let's get on the track and get going. Okay, we're at the Swan View car park, and I just pumped up the tyres a little bit because they're a bit soft, so I'm going back on the bitumen. Turned on my light, and I'll grab some food, and then we'll be on our way. Alright, let's go. I'm chewing on my gummy bears.